So very quickly, we're going to run through this and then we're going to get started with setting it up, right? So you're going to start your meeting. You're taking 5 minutes to start your meeting, whether it's just you or with multiple people. Multiple people, I would recommend going around the table. You are going to name a professional good and a personal good from your previous work week. This should take no longer than 5 minutes. If it's just you, write it down and save it. Data. No more than 5 minutes should be spent on data. All you are doing is looking at your measurable data points that are relevant to your business, and you are saying on track or off track. If they are off track, they go directly to the obstacles list. You are not discussing anything other than on track or off track while doing this. This is objective based averages set on the most important data points within your business. And all you want to know is it good or is it bad? If it's bad, we need to talk about it. If it's good, we don't need to talk about it. So drive, your quarterly drive goals. So you are setting goals that are defined, they're realistic, they're impactful, they're verifiable with data, and you can execute them. You know that it requires action, not just intention, and you know that you are able to execute it. Okay? So those goals are going to tie directly into your yearly goals, which we are going to, in a moment here, go and build those. And then we'll build these, and then we'll build obstacles, execution cues, everything, and we'll go from there. Momentum is your weekly wins. You're just writing down your wins. It's really good to celebrate your team. It's really good to celebrate yourself. Write down those wins. Anything could be a win, too. It doesn't have to be 100% related to your business. Just make sure you are setting your mind frame in a positive place. And that's what the meeting is going to do, because most of your meeting, you're going to talk about issues, right? So your execution queue is just your to-do list. These to-dos can just be minuscule tasks that you need to get done, or they can be directly related to an obstacle. Your obstacle is where you are going to put the largest portion of your time in the meeting towards. And your goal is to solve 1 to 3 obstacles a meeting. Your goal for the execution queue is every week, if there is to-dos, tasks, whatever on there, you are aiming to complete 80 of those to-dos. If you do that, you are going to be 80% more efficient. Lastly, you're going to wrap up. Make sure that you summarize your meeting, get your to-dos, get your calendar all cleaned up. Take your 5 minutes to get all your to-dos on your schedule to make sure that they're getting done. If you're time blocking, like I suggested in other episodes, you should have a time block that is open for to-dos, that things that need to be done that are related to the business, right? So this is where all of these things is where you'll fit that into your schedule. So say maybe it's an hour between 3 and 4 o'clock where you work on administrative and problem solving tasks. Well, this is where you're going to put that stuff. As always, make sure you keep your resolved obstacles. Make sure you save that stuff because if an issue shows up again, you might have to adjust your SOP to be able to make sure it never comes up again. Accountability chart, this is where you're going to view everyone's name and role. Team directory here, you can put your name and email, and that will actually tie in your calendar log to it there. And then company goals, right? So everything is working towards the company goals. Let's say you are trying to aggressively scale. You're hungry, you're wholesaling a ton, you got your business built out, your branding's ready, you have your intake forms, all of this stuff, everything that we've talked about in the last 5 episodes, right? Now you're getting ready to launch your system, aka Catalyst Pulse and Catalyst Command Center, and now you're saying, all right, I want to set some hard goals, I want to set up KPIs, I want to set up everything I need to be successful. And we want to do it quickly and reasonably. So let's do year 1, year 2, year 3. Okay? So I'm curious what a lot of your guys' goals would be in terms of let's work backwards from year 3. 3 years, what do you want your company to look like? 1, 2, 3, go. Just it doesn't have to be a goal. Just tell me what it looks like. What does your life look like? What does your job look like? You know what I mean? And I'm not just doing this for fun, guys. This is actually one of the most important parts of setting up Catalyst Pulse. And any business, you have to ask yourself what you want your life to look like. What you want. What do you want? This is the funnest part. There's nothing better than writing down goals and then setting up a system to achieve them. This is the best part. And mind you, you can go and write out this drive here, what they mean, and then tailor your goals to be drive goals, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure they're defined. We're going to make sure they're realistic and can actually be achieved, that it's impacting the business in a positive way, that we can verify it with data, numbers, and measuring it. And execution is, it's not just an intention and a lofty goal, that it is something that can actually be done. So we're going to go and take whatever you guys say now and then make it into a drive goal. And then from there, we're going to be able to set up 90-day goals to achieve our 1 year goal. So in 4 quarters of your business, you're going to achieve your 1 year goal because you're breaking it down on a weekly and daily basis and constantly working towards it at a really high efficiency rate. So you'd love to have an acquisition, dispo teams, transaction coordinators, 1 full-time acquisition manager, 1 dispo manager, 5 VAs, 5 close wholesale deals each month, 1 acquired co-living or multifamily property. Okay, do you think, and I'm going to ask you guys this straight up, do you guys think those are 3 year goals or like 1 year goals? Do you think you could get that done in a year if you set your to-dos and everything around it? And also think of the obstacles around it too. Like that, to me, that is a subjective question. It's whatever's up to you. You know what I mean? They can be done in 1 year. I do believe that as well. Full-time acquisition manager is something you could get tomorrow. Dispo manager you can get tomorrow. 5 EAs you can get in 20 minutes. Wholesale deals each month. That's definitely a scalable goal. Acquiring a property, I think, could be done within a year as well. Having an acquisition dispo team, TCs, you could have that tomorrow. So this is the value, you guys, of this platform and what you're doing, right? The system that you're doing. So when you go and you ask yourself, how long would this realistically take me, right? So now if you're saying you want an in-house acquisition and dispo team set up, completely different than just having an acquisition dispo team. In-house and outsourcing are 2 complete different things. And so we need to be a little bit more specific in our goals as well. I want to point out certain things here. Full-time acquisition manager, I mean, that's just, you could JV and just split. You could just give them huge commission splits and then build your team from there. Your dispo manager, same thing. VAs, I mean, that's a higher basis, and a lot of them will work for pretty cheap. If you're closing 5 wholesale deals a month, you should very easily be able to get to that point. So I just want to point out when you're setting these realistic goals, that it truly would take 3 years, not, a week, 1 month, 2 months, what have you. So let's kind of break this down in a way. I like, for Blueprint Acquisitions, our fake company here, 3 year goal. I do agree with you, Donna. I think in-house acquisition and dispo teams with designated TC, I want to be completely out of day-to-day operations. That's your 3 year goal. That's a completely different goal. That's going to be tough too. Okay. So you both said essentially full-time acquisition and dispo. So we have that in our 3 year goal. I like that. We're going to say in-house and trained. They are employees. They're not just working for commission-based wholesale checks, right? They're employees. Employee structure payments with commission splits, completely out of day-to-day operations. So we need to elaborate on being out of day-to-day operations. What does that look like? How do you measure that? What is the verifiable factor in that? You know what I mean? So we need to know what it truly looks like. Like, is that you just checking in on the company once a month, once a week, maybe just these catalyst meetings, the pulse meetings? Is that all it is? Is I log in once a week, I check the scorecard, and we move on from there? Or is it I own the brand and the business and I'm managing from there on? Because then at that point, you're going to need marketing, you're going to need dispositions, TCs, you're going to need managers, you're going to need a CEO, very likely a CFO as well. So you're going to need someone overseeing financials, overseeing the entire thing if you're out of day-to-day operation. So defining that is going to be probably the most important part here. Defining out of day-to-day ops. So let's call it CEO, finance. It is absolutely possible. 100%. We'll just call it CFO. Acquisition manager. Actually, you're going to end up calling this a team lead. Dispo, team lead, acquisition, junior, dispo, junior, marketing, web, intake. So you're getting to the point where it's, VA, very likely will need HR at some point. HR or lawyer, something along those lines to make sure you're complying with everything. All right, so To be out of day-to-day ops, it's going to look much different than just hiring in-house acquisition and dispo teams. So this is when you go and you got to split up what your 3-year, 5-year, 10-year vision is. Whatever your main goal is, you're going to write out, what do I want my life to look like? And you're going to get 4 or 5 goals out of just, 2 or 3 sentences of answering the question. Which, already, Donna, you wrote 2 sentences, 3 sentences. No, actually 2. And we already have 3 goals. Essentially, what I'm seeing here is this 3-year goal needs to be CEO, CFO, full team hired out, everything in place, SOPs, everything is going to be in place for you to exit year 4. So we're going to need in-house acquisition and dispo teams working under you within, I would say, by year 1. So then you can have enough data, enough backing, training, SOP, reworking, just full on system, system use and like proven process, right? Like you need to know you have a proven process to be able to leave and train somebody else, essentially, because you're going to be letting someone take over as CEO. Or maybe you are only a CEO and you're more of a visionary role rather than an actual operations role. But me personally, if I have a CEO, I want them operating the business like they own it. They do own a huge chunk of it, and they operate it so I can walk away and work on other things and collect checks. So quickly, I think in-house acquisition dispo teams needs to be year 1 goal, and defining our day-to-day ops is actually going to be our 3-year goal of where we're now saying I want to exit by the end of year 3. So year 1, I would go in-house acquisition dispo teams and designated TCs. I think designated TCs will probably be the earliest one and the easiest one to do because they work on a deal-by-deal basis. They probably work for another company, but they're very reliable, great source of information and guidance throughout a deal. So you could go get a great TC tomorrow, and that's going to greatly enhance your brand. So let's go year 1, acquisition and disposition system and team. We're going to write these really quick, you guys, and then we're going to make them drive goals. I just want to make sure that we're writing this all down. And you don't have to have 3 a year. You can have 2. You can have 1. I don't care. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter. Don't overload your goals if you don't. Like, the biggest thing is making sure you're achieving these things, right? So in-house acquisition, dispo team, TCs, all this stuff, SOPs, training up, making sure they're firing on all cylinders. That's a big goal. It can sound really small if you just third party everything, which is fine too. If you want to just third party, in some cases it might be cheaper. But long term and everything else involved, I would argue that in-house is going to be significantly more impactful and a lot more scalable. Because then you're not ever putting your business in someone else's hands. You're controlling it on all fronts, but it's going to take more management, take more time to get it to the point where you can exit. So we said, what did I write? We're just going to pop that right in there. All right. Any other goals, you guys? What do you think? 3 years. So you want to be out of day-to-day ops. We got that one. I like that. Anything else with 3 years? What's your next move? What are you setting up what that looks like to be out of day-to-day ops? Well, why do you want to be out of day-to-day operations? Because also in my mind, I'm like, well, if I stay within day-to-day ops and I get my workflow down to 15 hours a week rather than 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and my business runs flawlessly, well, then I save, a salary on the CEO end of things. And maybe I run CEO, CFO. And so I handle all the financing. Maybe I have a CPA or something that I work with, like personal finance and tax purposes and investment purposes. But maybe when in regards to the company, I handle CEO and CFO, and then I just manage my acquisition team lead, my dispo team lead. I make them a corporate position, and I eliminate 2 salaries, maybe even 3 salaries in that. So it's something to consider too. So when you're talking about your goals and what they actually look like, would you mind working 15 hours a week if it saves you 80 grand a year? Or do you want to, not work at all, go open and start another business while this one operates seamlessly without you? Too soon to do all the what? It's never too soon. I would say you're late. That's my mindset. It's never too soon to start working towards your goals. Are you asking, is 3 years too soon to get into the realm of what our 3-year goal is? So elaborate a bit on that for me. In 3 years to do all we suggested with 3 years goal. No, I don't. Not with this system. I do not. I think it's very possible. I think it's very, very doable. But now, if this is, say, your business and you don't believe it is, then what amount of time do you think would be reasonable? like 5 years. I personally think that 3-year goal could be done in 2, truthfully. Yes. So that's where, so when you go and you make these drive goals, right? Or as EOS likes to call it, SMART goals, a specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely, or as we're saying is defined, realistic, impactful, verifiable, and executable, right? So if you're doing these things, so you're taking these goals and then making them into that acronym, right? So they have to have all the aspects that we're saying they have to have. You know what I mean? So really quick. So we will pull this up really fast. I want to make this goal drive. Here we go. I used a different. Okay. Acquire and establish a complete operational team by the end of year 3, consisting of CEO, CFO, acquisition team lead, disposition team lead, acquisition junior, disposition junior, marketing specialist, web specialist, VA, intake coordinator, HR, legal support. So what you're going to do, then you just read your goal statement. By the end of year 3, Catalyst will have a fully operational 10-person leadership and support team consisting of a CEO, CFO, acquisition team lead, disposition team lead, person with defined responsibility systems and accountability measures in place to support long-term growth and scalability. Sweet. There's our goal right there. So when you read this, you're going to say, what does it take to do that? Number 1. And number 2, is it realistic? Can it be done in 3 years? When you read this. So I see a bunch of to-dos in this statement right here. There's a lot of stuff to pop that in there. Stretch this out a little bit so we can see our whole goal here, right? So now we're working backwards. More 3-year goals we want. First of all, is there other stuff we're going to work on than this? What about a financial goal? What about money? What about numbers? It's one thing to have a team. It's another thing to have money. I'm actually going to erase everything we have here right now. Let's talk about 1 year, 2 year, all that after we define truly our 3-year. What about financials? What about benefits? Like there's stuff that people don't, you're not necessarily thinking of, like, hey, like you own a business now. How are you going to structure it? Is it just going to be an LLC? Is it going to be an S corp where you give yourself a salary? Well, if you're giving yourself a salary, you have to have a certain amount of money, and there's a lot of really great tax purposes in an S corp, and then also just real life benefits of it versus being 1099 or W-2. So there's a lot of things that you have to think about in terms of structuring here as well. Where like now when you only make X amount of money when you're starting out, maybe you should go 1099 route and deduct as much as you can from your taxes and take a hit on any eligibility you would need for lending, loans, buying a car, whatever, buying a new house for yourself, whatever. You take an L there for a year, and then once you're making X amount of money, you switch to an S corp, give yourself a salary, and once you're giving yourself a salary, you're now operating the S corp in a different way than you're operating your LLC. There's a whole bunch of stuff we have to think about. My main reasoning being is we're talking about what do we want our life to look like in 3 years. So me personally, as an operator in a 1099 dominated space, I want to be able to go and use my job as to a certain degree of, eligibility for stuff. I don't want to live in the 1099 realm forever. So I'm going to give myself a salary and eliminate personal issues that might come alongside that. Because right now, like, even to get an apartment, because on paper I don't make money, I have to get a cosigner or a guarantor. I have to have people guaranteeing things for me, and I don't like that. So financial aspect, this is your personal goal. Me personally, I would say company margins are operating at minimum of 40% after retaining a personal salary of XYZ. How much money you want to make a year off your wholesaling business? 100K? 100K a year? Are you good with 100K? And letting your business run, and then you have bonus structure and payouts otherwise? Or do you want 200 grand, 300 grand a year? How much do you want? So let's just say 100,000 just because for a business I'm not even touching. I really like that. I like thing. Okay, now please make this and then 3 years. Okay, perfect. By the end of year 3, Catalyst will consistently operate at a minimum 40% net operating margin while retaining a $100,000 annual personal salary, supported by disciplined financial management, scalable systems, and sustainable business operations. For year 1, 300K, year 2, 1.2 million, year 3, 3 million, 30% margin, so pretty close. I mean, your margin should be significantly low until you get employees, right? So like right now, Catalyst is operating on about 80 to 90% margins. Year 1, you should be in the same boat. I mean, software, tech, especially now with Catalyst Command Center, your operating expenses should be extremely low. I mean, I'd be surprised if you're spending over $200 a month on your op expenses, especially if you're working from home. And then once you get into the realm of, oh, I need a space for people to work, or are they going to be remote? I need this or this, this or this, training this. All these things cost money. So it's thinking about that from day one and early on and moving it through. So I like your financial goals. 300K year 1, you should be able to do that, right? You should be able to do that if it's you and you're operating within a system and you're staying where it works, data, all that stuff. I think 300K is lofty for year 1, but I think it's manageable. I think you absolutely can do that. Year 2, going up, 4xing your 300K, I think is very reasonable as well. Year 3, I think 3 million as well. But we're talking about your salary, right? We're not talking about total company earnings. So if we're basing it on margins and percentages, I don't care about company earnings if my margins are always high. If I'm in a comfortable space, if I say minimum 40% net margin, I'm in a very, very comfortable space, because we might be doing 10 million. And if we're running 40% net off of our gross revenue of 10 million, that's $4 million extra on top of me getting paid what I need to live. 100K to live in most areas is, that's kind of your entry, you know what I mean? Like then you decide where the rest of the money goes. So if you want it larger, we can do larger. I'm fine with that. I like that. I like realistic goals, but I also like goals where I'm like, hey, I'm going to have to work my ass off to hit this number. Then you need to ask yourself what type of person you are and how dedicated and how ready you are to put in the work to do 3 million a year, 10 million a year, what have you. Or you have to look at the markets you're working within. Because there's some markets where you can do gross three mil in 4 months, or some markets, especially in the commercial space in bigger cities, if you can really impact your business in a positive way, where you can do 3 mil in a deal. So it's all subjective, and it's all going to apply directly go towards your business. So if you're working single family homes under 400K, I think 300K is going to be tough. I mean, typical assignment on those, you're looking at 5 to 25,000, right? So let's go in the middle there. If we're at, let's call it 10, no, I don't even think 10K assignment is reasonable. Let's say $8,000 an assignment, right? How many deals do you need to hit 300K? That's just a hair under 40. Yeah, 38 deals is what you need. So 38 divided by 12, you're looking at 3 deals a month, a little bit over 3 deals a month. When you put it like that, you go, okay, that's extremely doable. I can do that. I can do 3 deals a month. My system's ready. I can do that. So I like that for 300. Yeah, I would be focused on small month film. Awesome. So now while discussing our 3-year goals, we're already starting to realize our 1 and 2 year goals, right? Because you're asking the right questions, you're discussing the aspects of actual growth to get to year 3. So if I said to you, hey, I can give you 100K a year guaranteed, and your business operating at 40%, and you don't have to work on the business, at that point, every single year, you have 40% of whatever you're doing to either take care of your employees, hire more people, scale, whatever, give yourself more money, or sell your company and take it all, whatever you want to do, right? Or do we raise your salary over time? Me personally, if I only have to spend about 10 hours a week on my business, I get paid 100K a year. That's a great return. And then I also have a bunch of money to, just keep allowing my business to grow and keep growing my salary and all that. Me personally, I go, what's going to continue this in my life for as long as possible? Okay, cool. So let's just go with this for right now, just for the sake of moving on, right? So we're saying by the end of year 3, we'll have a fully operational 10-person leadership and support team with defined responsibility systems, accountability measures in place to support long-term growth and scalability. Company margins are operating at a minimum of 40% after retaining a personal salary of 100K. I'm paying myself 100K. If I want more, there's 40% pool to take from, right? So now we need to go to year 2 or even year 1, whichever you guys prefer. I don't care. but we need to make sure that those goals are going to achieve this goal. So year 2, maybe we hire half of this team, or we evaluate our margins and get them into a space of like 80% because we know we're going to be hiring so many people. Or we start out the gate at year 1 and we make sure that with an acquisition and dispo system, we're still at 80% margins and we're paying them based off of commission or off of success. All right, so year 1. Okay, cool. So you need your systems, you need your SOPs, you need to have your KPIs, your data all intact. So we said we already had all that stuff. In our hypothetical situation here, it said we have our data, we have our data points, our system's ready to be created. So now what we need is absolutely SOPs and what to do within a certain situation or circumstance, right? Because you are going to refer to that material and you are going to record everything you do with this system, right? What we're going over today, essentially after a year, you're going to have an SOP for everything because that's how you are going to train your employees when you hire employees and make it so you can go take the training material, make sure people learn it, make sure people do it, and then buy a little bit of your time back. So absolutely right out the gate, year 1, we need to say, all right, well, we know by year 3 we're going to have a full team. So year 2 means we're going to have some amount of team. Year 1, we're already talking about adding team. I need to make sure that now that I'm managing people, that they're happy, they're well compensated, and that they're like-minded and ready to grow with me to achieve my year 3 goal. So what do you guys think those goals look like in year 1 then? While you guys answer, I'm curious what ChatGPT. So year 1 looks like what, you guys? Yep. Okay. So this is definitely trained on a lot of the stuff I do. This is great. I want to be doing 3 to 5 assignments a month by month 6. So month 6, you want to be at the point of 3 to 5 deals a month and 15,000 per deal. Okay. Heard that. Donna, I'm going to ask you, what does it take to do that? You know what you want. So now what does it take to do it? What do you have to be doing to do that? Other than I have a system, I have KPIs. So you need to be looking at lead intake and successful disposition. So now, Donna, what you're doing without you even realizing what you're doing, I'm sure you actually do realize it, but what we're discussing here is why I love this system so much, where it literally makes you break it down to what to do tomorrow just by asking, well, what do I need to do that? Well, what do I need to do that? What do I need? And next thing you know, your to-dos are becoming what helps you succeed at your goals. So you're saying, like right there, you're like, well, I got to make minimum 30 calls. I have to have this many offers. I have to close this many deals. In order to do so, I need this infrastructure. I need these leads. I need this. I need that. Yeah. Yep. Dead on. Okay, cool. So I want to run through this really quick. And again, guys, I train the agent on EOS. I trained it on my version of EOS. And also, I've given that agent over 75 documents, my SOPs, literally my branding guidelines, everything is in there, right? So this AI, literally, I should just be able to press play and it would be able to run and answer questions based on my experiences, my faults, everything. It should do it really well. So I wrote exactly what Donna said. I said, we want to be making 15K a deal by month 6 and doing 3 to 5 successful deals a month. What would we be looking at? It's like, okay, so if you're starting today, you work backwards, which I've been saying this entire time. You work backwards from the outcome instead of setting arbitrary goals. So you want to average 15K a month or 15K a deal by month 6, 3 to 5 deals per month. You're looking at 3 deals a month, 45,000 gross revenue. 5 deals a month, you're looking at that. Realistic target range by month 6 would be 45 to 75,000 a month of gross revenue, which would be great. Wholesaling is volume business early on, so to do this, and it's just going to go and say what Donna just told us. You know what I mean? So I have to have 50 to 75 offers submitted a week. In that, you're looking to secure maybe 5, 10 contracts and always looking to secure your buyers so dispositions are easier. So in this, I would actually up this in terms of your daily 10 offers a day, which at that point means, you might have to make 400 calls a week. Let's say you work 5 days a week. You got to make 80 calls a day to make 10 offers a day. So what does that look like in terms of your time now? 5 hours? I feel like you should be able to get 80 calls in 5 hours. I wouldn't want to go beyond that for calling in terms of my work day, because I think at 5 hours, that's a lot. Like it's gonna be difficult to jam everything else into 3 hours, right? So you're looking at your time block and what can you do best to make sure that your day is successful. Is 5 hours too much for you, Donna? Is it, or is it just enough? Said, what'd you say here? Time blocking 3 hours. It would be hard to make 80 calls in 3 hours. So maybe we dial it back. I would want at least 75 offers in a week. So 15 offers a day. Can you get that done in 50 calls? Yeah, SMS marketing. Okay. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. So that's where we go and we put that info in. So we want to only call for 3 hours a day, get 15 offers in a day, using SMS blasting as a support tool, and making sure the rest of our 8-hour work day is used efficiently to handle all operations, dispositions, and growth towards achieving company goal. One, what can we do to get more successful offers out and signed? Two, what should we be doing during the other 5 hours to continue towards our goals? So let's see what can I do to get more successful offers out and signed? What should we be doing during the 5 hours to continue towards our goals? We only want to call for 3 hours a day. We want 15 offers in a day, guaranteed. We're going to use SMS blasting as a support tool and make sure the rest of our 8-hour workday is used to officially handle all operations, dispositions, and growth towards achieving goals. 15 offers a day, 8-hour workday. You're forced to build a business, not creating a job for yourself. Your goal is not 15 hours a day. Your goal is 3 to 5 successful closing month by month 6. Everything should be optimized around that. I break the day into 3 buckets. Here's your time block, you guys. Acquire, dispo, build. How do we get more successful offers accepted and signed? Reverse wholesale. Do not send blind offers. Spend time building. So if you have your buyers in place, you guys, like we are assuming you are because we are a reverse wholesaling community, 25 to 50 active buyers, you know exactly where to look. All your leads should be based around their stuff. Underwrite faster. Well, you can do that with Catalyst Global, no problem. Or Catalyst Command Center, sorry. Increase offer quality, not quantity. Every offer should include this. I love that. So this is building your system for you right away. Donna, I'm actually going to send you this conversation afterwards. This is really like exactly kind of what I've been teaching anyways. This is pretty great. I always talk about following up, becoming memorable. I'd create a non-negotiable schedule. For 3 hours, you acquisition call, SMS support, lead conversations, offer gen, 2 hours disposition. So if you don't have a deal to sell, what do? You find people to sell deals to for when you do have a deal. So you're adding your buyers, you're calling your buyers, you're following up with them, you're verifying their buy boxes, building relationships, talking with agents who have buyers, talking with other wholesalers. Maybe it's learning, maybe it's jumping in communities. By that time, you should have qualified buyers that know you by name and are ready to work with you. And then operations is you're updating your CRM, your KPIs, your scorecard, pipeline, follow-up tasks, offer tracker. You're tracking everything, and that's where you're really just hitting home on your data and your system, aka Catalyst Pulse, or your CRM within Catalyst Command Center if you have Catalyst Command Center. So you should be going in, filling out all this stuff and all of this stuff, working on this is what I was talking about, working on your tasks, your to-dos, everything. There's your hour to get all that stuff done. And then you have growth. So you have a rotational time period throughout your day, whether it's working on this stuff or whatever. So essentially what you're looking at now, just by talking that we use, the one that I trained, is you guys can literally get all your KPIs. Look at this. So am I calling 3 hours a day? Did I get 15 offers sent out a day? Did I have X amount of buyer conversations, X amount of new buyers after added, and what do my follow-up rates look like? The CRM is going to set follow-up, contact made, new lead, offer made, under contract, closed. You have all the stuff right here. So there's your KPIs. You go in, and now we have our KPIs. And we haven't even written down our year one goal yet, but in this, we're figuring out everything, right? So let's say, let's get rid of, actually, no, we'll keep our, I actually like this. Maybe we change this to acquisition, disposition, and operation, right? And we just look at this. Okay, so let's call operation or acquisition calls made, offers made, follow up rate, and offers accept, buyers acquired, follow-ups, deals sold, revenue generated, right? And let's go operationally. Where was our operations mean? Oh yeah, expenses. So this is going to be operating expenses. Maybe we move revenue generated down here, and then we do assignment fees, and then we can get an average of our assignment fees. So operating expenses, revenue generated. What else would you want to? So calls made, offers made, follow-up rate, offers accepted, buyers acquired, buyer follows up, deal sold, assignment fees. I'm missing anything here. I would want something to track my lead funnel, my lead intake. Lead intake, that's definitely acquisition. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I mean, social media. Social media is super important. Marketing, or social media and outreach, whether it's followers, engagement. Anywho, I'll wait for you to get. We're starting to get more and more KPIs, more and more goals, all these different things, right? But we need to write out now our 1 year goal. So let's forget the 6 month timeline right now, because we will be breaking our goals down into quarterly. Let's focus on now establishing our drive 1 year goals. I want to cap it at 2 goals, and you now know our process and system and our 3 year goal. Help. See what it says. All right, so build a repeatable deal acquisition system. By the end of year 1, the company will operate a repeatable acquisition and disposition system that consistently generates 15 offers per day, maintains an active buyer network, and supports the company's ability to close 1 to 3 successful transactions per month. Okay. Building a financially sustainable business. By the end of year 1, the company will establish financial stability by operating at a minimum 20 to 25% profit margin, while retaining a personal salary of $50,000 to $60,000 and implementing systems that support long-term scalability. I want higher margins in year 1. Minimum would be 40%. Okay. I like both of these. These are great. Getting yourself a salary year 1 too. Bang. Okay, now let's ramp it up hypothetically to help us achieve year 3 goals with 2 drive goals for year 2. Year 2 is department building. Yep. By the end of year 2, the company will establish 4 core departments consisting of acquisitions, dispositions, marketing, and operations, supported by 4 to 6 team members, documented systems, and accountability structures that reduce founder dependency and prepare the business for full leadership expansion in year 3. Yeah. I want that to be more specific, though. By the end of year 2, the company will consistently generate predictable monthly revenue while maintaining is an absolute goal. We have to have that one. But what I want for year 1 here, or the other goal, this needs to be more specific. It needs to be more specific and actionable. By the end of year 2, the company will operate with a 5-person team consisting of an acquisition team lead, disposition team lead, acquisition junior, marketing specialist, and VA intake coordinator, while implementing documented SOPs, weekly KPI scorecards, and accountability meetings that allow the owner to spend less than 50% of their work week on day-to-day operations and focus primarily on business growth and leadership development. That's great. Okay. All right, really quick. Let's look at these goals and see if they all work into each other. So by the end of year 1, the company will establish a repeatable acquisition and disposition system that consistently generates 15 offers per day, supports 1 to 3 successful wholesale closings per month, and creates a predictable pipeline for long-term growth. By the end of year 1, the company will operate at a minimum of 40% profit margin while retaining a personal salary of $60,000 to $75,000 and maintaining lean, efficient operations that support long-term scalability. By the end of year 2, the company will consistently generate predictable monthly revenue while maintaining a minimum 40% operating margin and retaining a personal salary of $80,000 to $90,000 through disciplined actions, operations, efficient systems, and scalable processes. By the end of year 2, the company will operate within a 5-person team consisting of acquisition team lead, dispo team lead, acquisition junior, marketing specialist, and VA intake coordinator, while implementing documented SOPs, weekly KPI scorecards, and accountability, aka our system. We're implementing our system, and now we're letting them in on the meetings. And this will allow you to work 50% less. Year 3, you have your full operational 10-person team, CEO, CFO, acquisition team lead, disposition team lead, junior for both acquisition and disposition, marketing specialist, web specialist, VA intake coordinator, HR, legal support, with defined responsibilities, systems, and accountability pledges and support to support long-term growth and scalability. Company margins are operating at a minimum of 40% after retaining a personal salary of $100,000. Whew, a lot of reading. What do we think? What do we think, you guys? I'm going to screenshot this for you. I mean, I think anybody should like that. That's a very, very solid goal setup here. It's great. So, JVs, I like that. How are we going to track them? So, we need to know what the measurable is when we're tracking KPIs. So, KPIs are all going to be measured by something. Calls made is a number, offers made is a number, follow up rate is a percentage based on your CRM basis and how much you're following up. It's a number. Lead intake is a number, all trackable. Offers accepted, number, trackable. Buyers, all this stuff is super trackable. So, we need your JV thing just to be trackable and you're fine. But more so, what we need to do is to now get into drive goals, which is going to be our 90-day goal. So you're going to have 4 quarters of goals and essentially plan out your year 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters to achieve your year 1 goals, right? Okay, after looking at your year 1 goals, I want to make the first 90 days revenue focused. First 90 days should build the machine. Quarters 2, 3, 4 should simply be amplifying what you built in quarter 1. If quarter 1 is weak, year 1 falls apart. Also, don't try to accomplish the entire year 1 goal in 90 days. First 90 days should accomplish one thing: install systems, habits, and KPIs that become non-negotiable for the rest of the year. Bang! That is on point. Throw that in there. By the end of quarter 1, the company will establish an active buyer network of 75 qualified buyers and implement a standardized disposition process that supports faster deal placements and stronger offer quality. Hell yeah. You know what has that, you guys? Catalyst Command. So, using Catalyst Command, you're going to have something that looks like this for joining your buyers list, something that looks like this if it loads. If you're a seller, and being able to easily sell your property with somebody like Donna. Or your offers are going to look like this, which are going to stand out. So this goal number 2 right here, Catalyst solves for you, which is great. Otherwise, you can find out your own process, which I'm A-okay with as well. But really nice to see that we actually have that answer. We're going to put our 3rd goal in here. Quarter 1, the company will implement a complete business operating system consisting of KPIs, CRM management, SOP documentation, and weekly accountable processes that support long-term scalability and profit. Okay, there we go. So we said year 1, our goal at Blueprint Acquisition is right here. Establish repeatable acquisition disposition system. By the end of year 1, we'll operate at a minimum 40% profit margin. So 90-day goal is setting up that system. So right here is our 90-day goals. There are 3 90-day goals right there as discussed. Notice how they're all measurable. And so then now that you have your 90-day goals, you're going to make sure that your KPIs, your data, is tracking these things. And then you are going to do your execution queue and your obstacle queue. So this here is going to be the to-dos to get these goals done, and your obstacles are going to be anything that's happening in your business that is preventing you from getting these goals done. And that's it. That is it. So I can then take these 3 goals. Here are our 3 drive goals for the quarter. I want 8 to-dos that I can get started on that should only take me 1 week to complete. I want to start tomorrow. So build out your KPI scorecard, which I just said to do. Create your 8-hour daily schedule, which I've been saying to do the whole entire time. Time block. Make sure your schedule's ready. Build your offer tracker. Hey, look at this. We have it right here. Build your buyer database. Hey, look at this. We have it right here. Write 5 core SOPs. SOPs. You need SOPs. Resources. Go to business strategy. Click into this page. SOP template right here as soon as it loads. SOP template is right here. So go ahead and start working on your SOPs. It should be able to be read by somebody and they should be able to do the process exactly how you would do it. So you are going to write these out for every portion of your business that is important to you and that you're going to train somebody on. So start working on those. Build your weekly accountability dashboard. What worked, what didn't? Hey, what are we doing right now? There you go. So you got all that. Buyer outreach script, we have those. Otherwise, you can just be organic, be yourself, and figure out what works. What markets do you buy? You can elaborate on this, get as creative as you want, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in other communities, whether it's working with agents, JVing, network events, what have you. You need to be able to outreach and talk to them correctly. And then create an end of the day shutdown checklist. So before ending every day, is the CRM updated? Did we have 15 offers sent? Is everything scheduled? And that CRM within our platform is really going to help you with that as well. And that is what you do. And then you go into the next week and the next week, and then stuff happens. You go, oh man, that's really unfortunate. Like, what do I do? How do I get past this? You write it down as an obstacle and get down to the root cause, which which was specifically, why is this an issue? Why is it relevant to my business? How do I get by it? How do I make sure it doesn't happen again? So you have an obstacle, you just ask yourself those questions. When you come up with the answer, you make it a to do. And then you make sure you get 80% of those done so you can take it off of the obstacle list and put it into the resolve obstacle list. So at the end of 6 months, at the end of 1 year, at the end of 2 years, 3 years, you're going to look back on all this stuff and you will have one of the most valuable assets in your entire life. It will be start a company, operate a company, and to exit a company on your terms, your financial assets, everything that you want. And you're going to have the whole blueprint right there. You're going to have it all. It's all going to be recorded. You're going to have SOPs. You're going to have training materials. You're going to have the headaches. You're going to have the wins. You're going to have every single personal and professional good from every single week, the entire time to look back on. And you just have it all. You have all the data, everything. Absolutely invaluable. And you just keep going. You just keep going. That's it, you guys. Like literally that. I know what that sounds like. It sounds like a lot. And what does it look like to remain actionable is going to be up to you. Right. So I can't do any more than that. And this is why I'm constantly encouraging you guys to do it. And that's why I just recorded this entire video and I'm going to upload it. And whenever anyone's like, hey, what do I do? I'm going to go watch this video because this will get you there, especially if you pair it with the new Catalyst updates that we have coming. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to build a business and a system and operate at a very high level within a year. What's even better is that we're offering a little bit of extra stuff in Command. So like we'll have the leads, we'll have the buyers. You don't really have to do that much. And it should allow you to easily hit 15 offers a day, like we're saying. I personally think 30 offers a day would be more of a goal than not. I would offer on every house that answers the phone. And that's just a mindset block that a lot of people have is it's not going to work. We'll just offer what works. Whether or not they say yes or no, it doesn't matter. Because with our new system, you'll easily be able to go in, underwrite, and write up an offer within minutes. So just go ahead and do that type of mindset or work or framework towards your day is, hey, I'm going to, once you get really good, underwrite on the phone. By the time you get off the phone, you're sending the LOI and you're starting your next phone call, right? So that's really what the true goal of that is getting up to 30 offers a day, being able to underwrite on the phone, making sure your phone calls are fairly quick and going from there. Oh my God, so much talking. My jaw hurts. Guys, that was an hour and 40 minutes of me talking nonstop. Any questions? A peace sign? Seriously? Seriously? I'll clap for myself. But no joke, you guys, like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'll bet that if you stick with it, even for 1 month, you do what we just wrote out, like even you just stole the test thing, you would be way more successful in 1 month. You would see so much more efficiency. You would see offers being seriously considered at the very least. And it takes a certain type of operator to look at themselves and say, what do I need to do to be able to do these things that are on this piece of paper? You know what I mean? Like we have our 90-day goals. How do I establish a repeatable acquisition system? And then you need to know what the true bottlenecks are, what the things are that are holding you back and keeping you from building that system. So you got to be harsh on yourself in terms of like your self-awareness. If there's something you're doing on the phones that isn't working, if your lead generation is poor quality, you have to be able to recognize that stuff early. And you're going to be able to do so by using this system because it's going to become an issue if it is an issue. And then by asking yourself, why is it relevant? Why is it an issue? How do I get rid of it? And how do I make sure it doesn't happen again? By doing that, you're going to expose things that you need to work on. And if you don't apply yourself and you don't work on those things, it's not the system that's failing, it's you failing the system. And I've seen more people do this system and quit than more people commit to the system and continually win. But the people I have seen who have committed to these systems, I've seen grow so much and just dominate their space and their role within their companies because they understand the value of self-evaluation and holding yourself accountable while you grow your business. And that is going to be the difference maker for all of you who even give this a try. If you don't give it a try, whatever, that's fine. Keep doing what you're doing. I hope it's working. Great. But if you do try it, it is going to expose your flaws and the issues in your business. Period. And if you're not okay with that, then don't do it. This is the difference between low-level operators and high-level operators, period. Like, and high level operators do what it takes. They learn, they tell you when they don't know something, and they go figure it out. That's what this system's built to do. It's built to tell you what to do in a way of, hey, this is an issue. How do I figure it out? How do I make sure it doesn't happen again? Why is it even relevant? Do I even need it? All those things are going to become very clear in terms of data and in terms of task completion. And then the most important of all, money being made. If you're not making money and the system's failing you, it's because there's something in there and you got to evaluate it and talk about it and figure it out and humble yourself and hold yourself accountable to making your system better. Does that make sense for everyone? Good stream today, bad stream today? What do you guys think? Anyone going to use it other than Donna? I know Donna's going to use it. And another thing, guys, the AI isn't gospel. It's not gospel. Don't take it as 100% correct all the time. Make sure you read through it and make sure it really applies to you and what you want, your goals and everything. And you can ask for it to elaborate. You can ask for it to be more specific and more task oriented. You can push it. I had to do it a couple times there where I was like, I like it, but it needs to be better. It needs to be more intelligent, more specific, more tailored for the business. Yeah, that was the point too, Donna. So when you do have your system set up, I think you said next Tuesday. I think we said next Tuesday between like 10 and noon. Let's hop on and we'll go through yours specifically. And then for anyone else who does it or even like tries like to like make a copy and just fill this stuff out, dude, just come up during a live stream. I will build it. What I just did, I will do it exactly for you and your business. It's very simple. We're leveraging a little bit of AI. We're asking ourselves the hard questions, answering them truthfully, and tailoring a system to operate around our goals. Expose the flaws, achieve the goals, rely on the data, scale your business. That's it. What's really fun, and Donna, I'm excited to talk to you in 3 months about this. What's really fun is once you figure out the system and it clicks and you get into a flow state with it, when obstacles come up, they disappear so quick because you get so good, you get so just decisive, and you're able to just fucking rifle through issues like they're no problem. And then you start building systems for those issues so they never show up again. So then you just have this like a true asset within your business and this true skill set alongside it that so many operators don't have. Like, you guys, this is why I'm able to consult and work with other businesses, is because I understand so much more because of this system. Where like I can go in and talk to employees and identify key metrics and stress points very quickly, like very quickly. And I'm able to tell them, like the operators or the owners, I'm able to tell them how to fix it just because I ask myself 4 simple questions and I look at data. Like, the data is really going to tell you everything, and it'll tell you, once you have employees as well, it'll tell you when they're not good employees. It'll tell you when they're lying, when they make excuses, when they can't handle accountability. And I go and I do this, and more often than not, I'm able to tell you your best performers, worst performers, and who's responsible for the business being in the state that it's in very quickly, whether it's good or bad. It exposes all of it. So if it's just you, it's going to do that same to you, but tenfold. You just have to really be blunt with yourself and really hold yourself to the highest level of accountability that you can. So if and Donna, it very well might be a situation where you're like, hey, I actually have to put 10 hours a day into achieving this goal. And that's where your accountability is going to come in place, and your role is going to have to change, or you're going to have to change your goals, right? So there's a possibility of that, but it might be short lived. You know what I mean? When I initially started out with Catalyst, it was like 10, 12-hour days for like 2 months. And now within a year and a half, it's, 20 hours a week. So my scalability, my difference, my skill set, everything, because I worked 12 hours a day at one point, allowed me to scale it quicker and grow it quicker. Yeah, if you're doing nights and weekends and all this and extra work already, I'm just saying in general, for most of you, it might be more of a requirement early, and not to get discouraged by it. Because by month 2, month 3, you'll see a huge difference in your efficiency. And while you might be working 10 hours, but it would be like you were working 24 hours in your old system. Does that make sense? What you're getting done in the new system will be so much more efficient and impactful. It's like comparing 24 hours into probably what you're doing. So you're getting time back, but it might not feel like it at first, if that makes sense. So I highly encourage everyone to try it out. Go in to the Catalyst Pulse, make a copy, fill out your goals in whatever yearly increments you want, work backwards down to 90 days, down to day one tomorrow. Yeah, that'll definitely help you. But all right, you guys, I am going to wrap up. That was 2 hours on the dot. As you know, I time block as well. So I am going to get this video edited. I will get it uploaded for your guys' reference. And then I would love to see some people give it a go, try it out, fill out that stuff just like we did today, follow along the video, write it out for yourself, and we'll go from there. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day. Expect that video to be uploaded today. Talk to everyone later. Ciao.